What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. So I have a feeling that we're going to be in the stages of where the Scream 7 news is starting to slow down. I'm pretty sure we are done with all the casting that we were getting, all the casting updates that we were getting week over week, sometimes 2 to 3 a week. We've still yet to get any information on the synopsis, the summary of what this film is going to be about. Who's really playing what character. Now, we obviously know there are some characters coming back, or some actors that are coming back, presumably playing the characters that they portrayed before, even though they were killed off. So we don't know how that's going to play out yet. We still have, what, 10 months before this film even comes out in February of 2026. We're only in April of 2025. And besides we have one update that we're going to cover off on in another video, but for the majority of it, all the updates have really started to slow down. Now, I'm only saying this, I'm laying this foundation because now we're starting to get a massive uptick in I Know What You Did Last Summer information. Now, obviously, that would make sense because the film comes out in 2-3 months this year, but the very first thing that came to mind was that, Scream had all these reports, these marketing to really push the Scream 7 stories. Hey, all this is what's going on. We're bringing all these actors back. Look who we've signed. And then I Know What You Did Last Summer certainly followed once that slowed down. Very similar to when the first film's released. Scream came out. It was this big hit. Everyone was talking about Scream. And then here comes little I Know What You Did Last Summer, following behind, trying to, and in some ways, ride the coattails of the teen horror craze that was going on around that time. And again, similar situation. Scream has all this media going on, all these reports. That's starting to slow down. And then here comes the little I Know What You Did Last Summer reboot, remake, trash sequel that they're making. And the reason I am calling it trash, and I will stand on that soapbox of calling it trash, and I'll eat my words if this film comes out and it is an absolutely amazing film from a horror perspective. I'll watch the film. I'll still see the film to give it its fair shake, but I'm going into it with very low expectations for the simple fact that we've covered this in 2 previous videos, primarily when it was first released, which is the summary, the synopsis of what this film is going to be about. And it was literally as if I just, reached over to my bookshelf, grabbed the VHS or DVD copy of the 1997 film, the first film that came out in this franchise, and just read the back of that. And instead of saying 4 friends, it just said 5 friends. That's it. Nothing else was different. Everything else was the same. And for the simple fact that somehow all of a sudden now they're going to track down the 2 surviving members from the tragedy from 30 years ago. And we've now been told of what one of Jennifer Love Hewitt's lines is going to be is, "So tell me, do you remember what you did last summer?" I mean, come on. That is trash writing. You spent all this time bringing this individual back, getting them convinced to come back to this character, and you're going to give them a line like that. I mean, how serious can I take you when you're giving me the 1997 summary and then giving lines like that to a returning character that's supposed to be in some ways comparable to Neve Campbell's Sidney Prescott? I mean, come on. That's just ridiculous. So for this update, we're looking at 2 things. One, I Know What You Did Last Summer sequel images feature the return of Jennifer Love Hewitt and Freddie Prinze Jr. So we have our first set of images from the film, and we have a potential casting update, a potential return of a character from the second film, which I'm not sure how they would really play into this, because if you remember, and I think we covered this during the live show we did last week, was that we pull up 2 articles where it was very specifically mentioned that they are looking in this new film, they're going back and only referencing the events of the first film. It was as if they are clearly ignoring the events of the second film. And if that's what they're doing, bringing back this character that we're going to talk about here in a moment would not make any sense, because they were only in the second film. So let's take a look at the image. Let's take a look at this article first, the images that come with it. Then we're going to talk about the the potential tease casting that this person may or may not be in it. We don't know yet. Of course, unless they're going to put this person in the trailer, we won't find out until it's probably either spoiled by somebody who gets to see it ahead of the full theatrical release, or on the day it's released in theaters, people will probably spoil it same day. So let's take a look at the images first. So there's a new sequel, the 1997 slasher, I Know What You Did Last Summer, and its 1998 follow-up, I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. Now, it's interesting, in this article, they're referencing both films, both the two original films, and saying this is a sequel to that, ignoring the fact that there was a third film, I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer. They're completely ignoring that one altogether, so erasing that from the timeline, which makes sense why you would do it, just pointing out the simple fact that they are ignoring that film. Coming our way from director Jennifer Caton Robinson, aiming for a July 18th theatrical release. We should be seeing a trailer for this one very soon. In fact, a trailer was already shown at CinemaCon event last week. But while we wait, People has unveiled a few images from the film, including a couple that feature the return of Jennifer Love Hewitt and Freddie Prinze Jr. These images can be seen at the bottom of this article, which we are going to look at. And yes, we did see the previous reports that at CinemaCon last week, they were shown a trailer. Supposedly it's this gory horror trailer, really getting down to the essence of horror. Again, that's fine. You can give me all the gore you want, but if you're still just going to give me a literal rinse and repeat of the 1997 film, I'm not interested. I'm not interested whatsoever. Again, especially when you're giving trash lines like what we've already talked about to supposedly one of the staples for this franchise. Robinson is directing the film from a screenplay by Leah McKendrick, which has received some rewrites from Robinson and journalist Sam Lansky. McKendrick told Collider a while back that the new sequel will reckon with, quote, some big ideas about hero and... So we've read all this. I'm not going to read this again. It just really just talks about hero, villain. Now there's TikTok, there's social media, and your secrets are no longer safe anymore. So what's Julie James going to do in a world where now social media exists? Because obviously 1997, Facebook, Twitter, X, TikTok, Instagram, none of this stuff was around, right? I mean, half the time people really didn't really have cell phones all that much. And if it was a cell phone, it was very far and few between. Most people still had pagers at that point. If you don't know what a pager is, go Google it and you'll see what I'm talking about. McKendrick also said when she went in to pitch her take to Sony, the most important things they wanted to hear about were the accident, the event that kicks it off, and who is the killer. That right there is... So the studio execs are setting themselves up for failure. So you have someone coming in, and we don't even know what her original idea was. She could have come in with something completely new and original to bring back this franchise. And all the Sony was worried about was, tell me about the accident, tell me about this, and then who's the killer. So pretty much all they're doing is leaning back, probably opening up their cabinet, pulling out the script from 1997, saying, hey, tell me how you're going to just give me this right here, and we'll just call it 2020, in 2025. Here's a synopsis. I'm not going to read this again. I can't bring myself to read this again. Again, as I've mentioned, when it says here, when 5 friends, literally just replace 5 with 4, and this last sentence here, let's get rid of this ad. This last sentence here, and you have the original film, right? I mean, that this last little bit literally states, as one by one the friends are stalked by a killer, they discover that this has happened before as they turn to 2 survivors of the legendary Southport massacre of 1997 for help. And then that's where I'm sure once they show up and find them, both Julie and Ray, that, hey, you guys went through this, help us, and it'll probably just be a cameo. I don't see them playing a big role in this whatsoever. We have the casting here. We're not going to go through all this. We've seen this before, all the casting for the film. So now let's get down to this. So here we have one image here. We obviously have Julie here. Now, I'm not sure who this is. I'm guessing this is, based on just what this individual's head looks like. This looks like this could be Ray or Freddie Prinze Jr.'s character. Just based on the haircut. It does look a little bit older. It does look a little bit, has like a grayer beard right here. So this could be the 2 of them. Now, the way that they're standing, this could be when they're finding out that this is happening again, where these surviving friends, I'm sure probably 3 of them will show up. 2 of them will probably already be killed off some way, shape, or form. And then they go searching for these 2 that have been literally doing nothing for 30 years. And so now if we look at this picture here of Freddie Prinze Jr. and then go back to this one, that looks, I mean, the jacket. So we have this dark collar here, this kind of greenish color. This almost looks like it could be the same jacket, and this could be him here, just based on the haircut, the beard, same kind of style right there. So I'm guessing that could be him. I'm guessing that's him. And if we look closely here at Freddie's hand, his left hand, he doesn't appear to have a wedding ring on. So that would beg the question at the end of the second film, if they are in fact not going to ignore the second film, that did Julie and Ray, did they get married, or did they get married and get divorced? Because it doesn't have a wedding ring on here. And then just based on this right here, this would be almost as if the 2 of them are coming back together, because they're the surviving 2 that they're referring to. So maybe they're not together all anymore. And who knows? It could be the fact that they couldn't get over this tragedy that happened to them. It drove them apart, and now they're no longer together. And then here, looks like, is this the last image? Yeah, so this is the last image. So here are the 5 friends. The way this image looks, and it could just be how it looks, if this is the final look, color palette, everything from this film, this literally looks like something off of like a TV series from like MTV, or from, you know, the some nonsense network that does not look like a final picture from a blockbuster summer film that's supposed to be revitalizing a franchise. This does not look good. And you're telling me this girl here that's in all white, there was just a car accident, and then we see this guardrail that's broken that could possibly fit a car through it, maybe a small car, but there's no debris around. Well, we have some tire tracks here, so maybe someone drove off here. So what they do, push someone off the side of the ravine. And I said this in a previous video, if this is the same, you know, hill, the same turn from the original film that this accident happens on, it's game over. Literally walk out of the theater, wait for it to show up on streaming. I'm not going to rent it. I'm not going to buy it. It will be does it pop up on Netflix? Does it pop up somewhere that we can just watch it for free, because I'm already paying for that subscription? Because that would not make any sense to me whatsoever. So those are the images we have of this sequel, reboot, legacy sequel, whatever you want to call it. I'm literally just calling it I Know What You Did Last Summer, 1997, 2.0. That's pretty much what it is. So the other bit of news I saw come out today for this film is this. Is Brandy returning in the new I Know What You Did Last Summer? The director plays Coy. So you may or may not know, or may remember, and this is a picture image from that film, the second film. Brandy was in that film. She was best friends with Julie James. So whether or not she's coming back, and if she does, for whatever reason, come back, then that confirms they are not ignoring the events of the second film, and we're not just doing a jump from the first film to this legacy sequel. So let's read through this article real quick and see what we got. A lot of activity is coming from the new I Know What You Did Last Summer film. The sequel/reboot to the 90s horror franchise showed a new trailer. Yeah, we know that already. Which means the official trailer release should be stalking right around the corner. Additionally, some enticing new images, which we just looked at. Nothing new there. There is also a question about whether Julie's college roommate, who was portrayed by R&B singer Brandy Norwood, would also make a return. According to Deadline, director Jennifer Caton Robinson is teasing that is a possibility. So the director recently spoke to People, was asked about it, and she simply replied, "You'll have to go see the movie." And goes on to say Brandy played Carla Wilson in the sequel. Brandy was asked about the new entry by Entertainment Tonight, where she explained, quote, I heard some things about. That doesn't seem like a complete quote. So hopefully, she then added, I don't know how she would come back. I haven't thought about that yet, but I know that she should come back. She should definitely come back. All right. And then the synopsis, the casting. So Caitlin, so obviously the director, Jennifer's not, giving us too much information. Brandy would like to come back. It sounds like she believes the character should come back, apparently. I'm not sure what role she would really be playing in this, because if this story is taking place in the same small fishing town that the original film took place in, what relevance does Brandy's character have? What relevance does Carla's character bring us? I mean, that the fact that that happened somewhere else at a resort on an island had nothing to do with this small town. I don't see what relevance she would have. What is she going to bring to the table? She wasn't there for the events of the original film, so it's not like she could say, "Oh, this is what happened. We were on this cliff. We were, driving drunk, and this is what transpired. We all made a pact, and then we start getting killed off one by one." Right? I mean, what is she going to tell us that we don't already know? Just go back 30 years, and you already know what's going to happen. All right, everyone, that's going to do it for this horror news update for the I Know What You Did Last Summer Legacy sequel, due out supposedly in July 2025. The more we know, and as soon as we get that trailer, we will come to you with that trailer review reaction. All I'm going to wrap up and say is this trailer better just be something completely amazing, and where the synopsis isn't really portraying this film in an accurate way. However, based on the synopsis, based on the one-liner that we know that Jennifer's character is going to state, and just some of the other reports we're getting, I don't see this working out. I see this having a good first week, a decent first week, because your hardcore fans, your longtime fans are going to want to see this. But that second week drop, I think, is going to be massive, and I think this will only be in theaters probably 3.5, maybe 4 weeks, and that's pushing it. And then it's going to be already on video on demand digital by week 5 or 6 tops. So mark that on April 9th. That's my prediction for this film. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what you think about this information. Let me know what you think about this addition to this franchise. Are you looking forward to it? Are you not? I specifically want to know what you think about the fact that this seems like we're just getting the exact same film, but from 1997. And if you haven't done so already, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Otherwise, we'll see you at the next one. Peace.